Did you know that for Star Wars The Phantom Menace, during the first week of the first trailer's release, many theaters reported up to 75% of their audiences paying full price for a movie, then walking out after the Star Wars Episode 1 trailer was shown? 2. Jake Lloyd has said that he retired from acting because of the trauma he experienced after playing Anakin Skywalker. According to Lloyd, other children constantly teased him about the role, for example, making lightsaber sounds whenever he walked by. Lloyd also said that the situation was made worse because, in his opinion, the film did not meet the fans' expectations. Despite this, Lloyd has reprised the role of Anakin in several video games and has appeared at Star Wars conventions and events. 3. In 1997, a fierce sandstorm destroyed several of the Tatooine sets in the desert outside Tozeur, Tunisia. Filming resumed 2 days later. George Lucas considered this a good omen, as the same thing had happened during filming of Star Wars: A New Hope. 4. The sound of the underwater monsters growling near the beginning of the film was made by the main sound technician Ben Burt's 3-month-old daughter. The sound of her crying was recorded and put through a subwoofer to attain the creature's growling sound. Did you know that for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, originally skeptical of the project, Sharon Tate's sister Deborah Tate gave the film and Margot Robbie's portrayal of Sharon her blessing after Deborah was embraced by Quentin Tarantino himself, and she became aware of how her sister would be represented within the film. Deborah referred to Margot as a dedicated craftsman and praised the actress's research of Sharon prior to meeting with her. 2. The cream Cadillac Brad Pitt drives belongs to Michael Madsen. It also appeared in Reservoir Dogs, driven by Madsen. 3. The party sequence at the Playboy Mansion was actually filmed there, Tarantino having been a guest of Hugh Hefner on a number of occasions. 4. As the Tate party enters the El Coyote restaurant for dinner, Sharon Tate and Jay Sebring discuss a movie premiere they can see taking place further down Beverly Boulevard at an adult movie theater. They have premieres for dirty movies, asks Sharon. The theater in question is the Eros, a real adult theater of the time. The building still exists, though it is now a historic cinema called the New Beverly, and it is owned by Quentin Tarantino. Did you know for Shawshank Redemption, Morgan Freeman recorded the guide track in an Iowa recording studio in only 40 minutes? However, there was a minor hiss to the track which sound engineers in Los Angeles were unable to eradicate. Consequently, it had to be re-recorded in a proper studio, and this time it took 3 weeks. 2. Stephen King has considered this to be one of his favorite film adaptations based on his own work, and it is also Morgan Freeman's favorite film of his own. 3. Despite being widely considered as one of the greatest movies of all time, it didn't receive a single Oscar win, though it was nominated for 7, including Best Picture. 4. The full title of the Stephen King novella, Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption, was not used because there was a perception in Hollywood that the film was actually going to be a biopic of famous 1940s actress Rita Hayworth. Indeed, Frank Darabont even received solicitations of audition requests from several actresses and supermodels and their agents about playing the lead. 5. Jon Favreau auditioned for the role of Fat Ass. He later told Empire magazine that this was the worst audition he ever did, and it encouraged him to try and lose weight. Did you know that for Thor, the final choice for the role of Thor came down to brothers Chris Hemsworth and Liam Hemsworth? Chris found it funny. We both came all the way over here from Australia and ended up battling against each other. He, however, bore no ill will towards Liam, claiming he was rooting for him to get the role. This marked the second time 2 siblings vied for the same superhero role, after Alec Baldwin and William Baldwin were both considered to play Batman in Batman Forever, but lost the part to Val Kilmer. 2. When Chris Hemsworth, Thor, and Sir Anthony Hopkins, Odin, saw each other in full armor for the first time, Hopkins jokingly said, "God, there's no acting required here, is there?" 3. Director Sir Kenneth Branagh asked Sir Anthony Hopkins to improvise his reaction to Thor's yelling at him in the banishment scene. Hopkins agreed, and when the scene was filmed, many of the cast and crew present were sobbing. Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston later said they had to struggle to keep their composure during filming that scene. Hiddleston later complimented Hopkins, to which he said, "Ken's fantastic, isn't he?" Did you know for The Dark Knight, in Sir Michael Caine's opinion, Heath Ledger beat the odds and topped Jack Nicholson's Joker from Batman? He stated Jack was like a clown figure, benign but wicked, maybe a killer old uncle. He could be funny and make you laugh. Heath's gone in a completely different direction to Jack. He's like a really scary psychopath. He's a lovely guy, and his Joker is going to be a hell of a revelation in this picture. Kane bases this belief on a scene where the Joker pays a visit to Bruce Wayne's penthouse. He'd never met Ledger before, so when Ledger arrived and performed, he gave Kane such a fright that he forgot his lines. 2. In preparation for his role as the Joker, Heath Ledger hid away in a motel room for about 6 weeks. During this extended stay of seclusion, Ledger delved deep into the psychology of the character. He devoted himself to developing the Joker's every tic, namely the voice and that sadistic-sounding laugh. For the voice, Ledger's goal was to create a tone that didn't echo the work Jack Nicholson did in his 1989 performance as the Joker. Ledger's interpretation of the Joker's appearance was primarily based on the chaotic, disheveled look of punk rocker Sid Vicious, combined with the psychotic mannerisms of Malcolm McDowell's character, Alex DeLarge, from A Clockwork Orange. Did you know that for The Martian, Matt Damon admitted that the scene where Mark was getting emotional upon hearing Commander Lewis's voice was genuine? The other actors had rapped and gone home, and their pre-recorded voices were actually being played to Damon from inside his spacesuit. When Damon began to think about how his character had been all alone on Mars for 2 years, alongside how he was only hearing pre-recorded voices of his co-stars who had already finished their scenes, he began to tear up. Sir Ridley Scott was so impressed with Damon's performance that he only did one take of the scene, which was used in the film. 2. NASA was consulted in order to get aspects of space and space travel, specifically in relation to Mars, with the most accuracy. NASA is federally funded, yet charges no one, including private for-profit organizations, any fees for use of and access to its archives and consultancy. 3. In the beginning, it is mentioned that a compromised spacesuit would cause decompression, giving someone about a minute to live. This is scientifically correct, as major effects include confusion, loss of consciousness, and some subdermal bleeding. But it is generally agreed that a healthy human body can survive 1 minute in vacuum without life-threatening consequences. Did you know that for Spider-Man, the original trailer for the movie depicted a bank robbery with the robbers making a getaway in a helicopter? A close-up of the helicopter was shown until the helicopter stopped, apparently caught in mid-air. As the camera zoomed out, it was shown that the helicopter was caught in a spider web, suspended between the 2 towers of the World Trade Center. After the attacks on the towers on 11 September 2001, however, the trailer was changed and the scene was removed from the film. 2. James Franco's hair was dyed brown to give him some resemblance to Willem Dafoe, his screen father. This decision was only made after filming had begun. Indeed, in the scene where Harry visits Aunt May in hospital, you can see that Franco's hair is his usual black. 3. During the fight between the Green Goblin and Spider-Man near the end, Willem Dafoe accidentally clipped Tobey Maguire on the chin with one blow. 4. The genetically modified spider that bit Peter Parker was not a Black Widow spider, but a Steatota spider, which was chosen by Stephen R. Kutcher and painted red and blue by Jens Schnabel while the spider was anesthetized. Did you know that for Iron Man 3, this is the first movie in the Iron Man franchise not to be directed by Jon Favreau, possibly over creative differences with Marvel or because of his salary demands? He later said that not directing allowed him to have more fun with his character, Happy Hogan, saying that he was like a proud grandfather who doesn't have to change the nappies but gets to play with the baby. 2. Robert Downey Jr. pushed to get Gwyneth Paltrow to have some action scenes, and producer Kevin Feige approved. We are bored by the damsel in distress, but sometimes we need our hero to be desperate enough in fighting for something other than just his own life. So, there is fun to be had with Is Pepper in Danger, or Is She the Savior, over the course of this movie. 3. The first cut was 3 hours and 15 minutes long. The final cut was 2 hours and 10 minutes long. 4. The first day Robert Downey Jr. and Sir Ben Kingsley met on set, they snapped a photo together to send to director and mutual friend Sir Richard Attenborough. 5. A Super Bowl trailer that promised an extended look had Robert Downey Jr. staring at the camera.